who are there. Appreciate it. The House overwhelmingly passed a resolution on Friday to honor the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk after that assassination last week. The measure passed by 310 to 58. Democrats were heavily split on the issue. The resolution condemns his death and political violence and hails the conservative activist as a courageous American patriot. I want to discuss with CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings and CNN chief political analyst David Axelrod. Hello to you both. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to start on that resolution because, to me, it is kind of a window into the way that politicians in both parties are grappling with this moment that we are in, not just leading into the memorial, but the moment after the horrible assassination of Charlie Kirk. Markwayne Mullin was on State of the Union this morning. He is a huge ally of President Trump. He was a friend of Charlie Kirk's. He's going to the funeral today. He brought up with me how upset he was that Democrats voted against that resolution. Afterwards, I spoke to Jasmine Crockett, Democrat of Texas. She was one of the 58 to vote no. Listen to what he said and her reason after that.
The same resolution that had Charlie Kirk's name on, you had 58 representatives vote no, 38 voted present, 22 chose not to vote. That is silent. So you had 118 individuals that didn't condemn it because
Senator,
why?
Get to that,
because of hypocrisy over both sides.
When I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color, because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was, specifically to us.
Scott Jennings?
Well, she's lying. I mean, Charlie Kirk targeted nobody. He was not racist in any way. I've listened to hours and hours and hours and hours of Charlie Kirk debates and talks, and have been with Charlie Kirk and did events with Charlie Kirk and knew Charlie Kirk. There wasn't a racist bone in his body. To say that he was continuously targeting people of color is nothing but a malicious smear on the very day that people are remembering Charlie and he's going to be laid to rest. And so I think we need to combine the no votes on the resolution, and then you look at the leading Democratic voices like Ilhan Omar and Jasmine Crockett, who've gone out to smear Charlie before he's even had his funeral. When I hear people say, well, you need to come together and both sides need to turn down the rhetoric, you know, a lot of the people saying that need to look inward right now. I was shocked at that. Well, I guess I shouldn't say I'm shocked by her, but I was a little stunned by what happened this morning.
David?
Yeah, well, look, first of all, let's just say a couple of things. One is,
what's up, everybody? It's Monday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett, Shelly E.
Hi.
And back with us tonight is Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing well.
Good. Great. What a weekend. There's so much to talk about, folks. And we come on in here. As you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. We are talking about it all, from Democrats smear Charlie Kirk on the very day of his funeral, to the media and how they're twisting his memorial into an attack against Christianity. And President Trump moves to stop foreign workers from taking American jobs. We're talking about it all tonight, including breaking right out today news about Tylenol being linked to autism. President Trump did a presser on that this evening. We're going to talk about it, or talk about all of that and more. So as you guys come in, hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. We are live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes They wish we didn't exist because they just continue to perpetuate these lies. Folks, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, everybody, let's set it off. Want to get right into the opening clip of Scott Jennings giving Jasmine Crockett the business and basically talking about her response to the funeral, the memorial for Charlie Kirk, and then also this resolution that most Democrats voted no on. Shelley, what is your first response to all of this?
My first response is, in honor of Charlie Kirk, I'm not Charlie. Okay, I'm not Charlie right now because I'm not. This bitch, she's lying. Who did he target? She said target us. Who's us? He didn't target anyone. She's lying. And they did this on purpose. Dana Bash went purposefully to Jasmine Crockett on the day of Charlie Kirk's memorial so that she can spew all of these lies and all of her crap. These are some of the most highly paid, educated, privileged Black people, Democrats in Congress, and they are still whining like bitches, like little pussy kittens. That's what they're lying about. I'm not Charlie. No, I'm not Charlie. God rest his soul. I'm not Charlie. You all know what I mean. I'm not Charlie right now.
Yeah. You mean that you're gonna tell it, Charlie was a little bit more I don't know what you would call it, less controversial, I guess. And you're basically gonna tell it like it is. We all get it. Nicole, Jasmine Crockett's comments, I mean, don't they show the hatred that they have for conservatives? And why the resolution was about honoring a patriot? Why vote against it?
Well, because they're losing control. Like they're quite literally watching power slip through their fingers, and no matter what they do, it's not stopping. They're seeing people, especially young people, walk away from their party. And, this whole episode with Charlie Kirk, this last week or so of watching America's young people say, I could choose this or that. I'm going to take a little bit of Charlie Kirk. This whole thing where people are wearing shirts that I am Charlie, people who traditionally would probably vote the way their parents told them to vote. If their parents were Democrat and their kids are in college, they probably would say, you need to vote for Kamala because she's this, this, and this. Charlie Kirk disrupted that. But even in his death has had such a bigger impact than they could have ever assumed. So this is what I'd like to call a world-class case of sour grapes. This is what this is. Jasmine Crockett probably has watched maybe 10 minutes of Charlie Kirk stuff prior to his assassination and probably 15 minutes since. She's not a type of person that's plugged into that type of political talking. She's probably a little bit more introverted, all about herself and things that work with her. So she didn't see the impact he had. And trying to race bait did not work. It's still not working, no matter what they say. We're Nazis, we're fascists, we're this, that, the third. Nothing is sticking. Nothing is sticking. So they're panicking. And this is what that looks like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tyrone, they continue to push this narrative that Charlie Kirk was racist and he targeted Black people. Specifically, she said that. Do you think this is working? Do you think this lie, this misinformation is working?
It's not working at all. And the Democrats, it's funny that they don't realize that many of their young voters are going onto the internet and they're actually researching Charlie Kirk. They're listening to not sound bites that have been selectively edited, but entire diatribes from Kirk. And it's not good for the Democrats because they're being exposed as blatant liars. They're being exposed as hijacking and misleading a person's legacy for cheap political points. And I have seen a lot of videos in the past week of young people that one young man, as a matter of fact, the young man said he was gay, young black man. And he said, I've gone on and I've watched what Charlie Kirk has actually had to say. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know what? I'm not a Democrat. Okay. So the Democrat power elite, they're actually pushing people toward the realization that their party is no longer relevant, and it certainly can't be construed as any kind of moral authority at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Folks in the chat, I see you guys sounding off. If this fires you up, drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Would you have voted yes on the Kirk resolution? Let us know. We'll read every super chat, and it's good to kind of talk within the chat. Let us know what you think, because this has gotten us all fired up. It really has. And I want to ask you, Nicole, because there was a resolution previously for a Democrat, correct, that passed away, and it was and the Republicans voted for it. Is that right?
Unanimously. It was for the two, I think they're Minnesota State Democrat legislators who were killed in their home. So we did not stop and say, well, they're Democrats and, we don't really have much going on in Minnesota. But it was, for us, it was not about who they were. It's about what happened to them, right? Mm-hmm. Political violence has no place in the way that we do politics here in the United States. I mean, listen, you guys, just so you know, all this huffing and puffing and blowing the house down that you see on CNN and Fox and in One America, where people are at each other's heads and all of that, 99.9% of that is for show. Because when the cameras go off and the microphones are slid away, over here, we're good friends. We top golf together. We actually golf together. This week is Congressional Black Caucus Week. There are going to be parties with Black Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Purple Party, no party people, and people are going to break bread and have a good time. This is what I'm trying to tell America. The rhetoric that you hear, this, we hate them, they're Nazis, and this, is just for the camera. When the camera turns off, they go back to being, buddy pals with people that on a camera they don't get along with. But what America hears is the conflict. They hear the chaos. It's a steady drumbeat of that. So you believe that these people can't stand each other. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah. But Shelley, would you say that Democrats voting no against this resolution is actually un-American? Would you go so far to say that?
I would say yes, it's un-American. And I say these Marxist communists, these anti-Americans that they are, this resolution, Nicole, you're right. The resolution for Melissa Hortman and her husband unanimously passed, right? That was in June. This resolution has, I think, 8 or 9 sentences. And the first 4 or 5 sentences basically says, whereas Charlie Kirk, he was assassinated. He was a father, a husband, a Christian. He founded Turning Point USA. He frequently engaged students on college campuses. I'm condensing the sentences. And then the resolution, these are the resolutions, 3 sentences, resolved that the Senate would condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk in the strongest possible terms, extends its deepest condolences and sympathies to Charlie Kirk's family, his wife and 2 young children, and honors Charlie Kirk's commitment to the constitutional principle of civil discussion and debate between all people of the United States, regardless of political affiliation. And these jackasses couldn't sign for that. They wouldn't vote for that. Are you serious? That's all it says. It doesn't say anything about you have to agree with Charlie Kirk or that, that he was racist. No, it doesn't say. It just says the violence is condemned based on what he was set out to do and what his purpose was and how he lived his life. 8 or 9 sentences in total. And these are the people that, again, they get our taxpayer money to fund their bullshit at the highest levels, compulsorily taken out of our Americans' hardworking checks to pay these jackasses.
Yeah, we have a super chat here. Thank you guys so much here. Let's see here. We have JT Thompson with the $5 super chat. says people should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. V. So that was from the movie V. Yeah, absolutely. And here's Jasmine Crockett going in again, giving additional reasoning why Democrats voted against the bill. This is clip 1.
Let me ask you, because I do want to play a couple of statements that you made earlier this year.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. They want to show that they are loyal to this, you know, I don't even know what to call him. I've called him so many things, but this wannabe Hitler for sure.
And to be clear, the president has attacked, other people have attacked you in his orbit, maybe not him personally. But do you have a responsibility as an elected official not to raise the temperature, but rather lower the temperature, particularly when there are people out there who listen to elected officials all over the place who are not well, who use that as a way to instigate the political violence that you are calling out?
I think that my responsibility is to be transparent and to be honest. And the reality is that we are living in a time in which this administration and this regime is not interested in making sure that people understand history. We need to understand why they are so problematic. And so I am using that language because it is accurate language. When we see the consolidation of power, when we see them trying to chill speech of jokesters, when we're seeing all of this, that is a playbook out of Hitler, and I won't deny it. Like, these are the facts. But one of the things that I've never done that the president has done consistently is called specifically for violence. He has said, oh, beat that one up. He has said those types of things. We know that Charlie Kirk was saying things about who should live and who should die. I have never said those kinds of things. And I think that those things are the ones that are really, really dangerous. And even still, some of that will still be protected. We know that we still have laws that are on the book that certain speech is not.
Let me ask you, because.
Wow. All right. Tyrone. I mean, she said she's being transparent and honest. She's using accurate language. I mean, what are your thoughts on what she just said? And mind you, Dana Bash didn't push back at all. Didn't say anything.
You know, I want to go back to something Nicole said a few minutes ago. I do believe that among some that are in the media sphere or on Capitol Hill, in these state legislatures, among some, there is still that statesman-like behavior where, you know, they can spar, you know, at the podium, but leave that on that floor among some. But make no mistake about it, this new crop, the younger crop of politicians, they don't fit into that paradigm. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Ilhan Omar, what's the other lady? She literally
Rashida
Tlaib. Okay, Jabal Bowman, he's not there anymore. But their ilk, Iyanla Presley. They are true believers. They're rabid. They hate the other side, and they're not ashamed or afraid to tell you that. Okay, so we do have to recognize that. Now, I would ask, and Jasmine Crockett talks about history. Earlier this week, Jasmine Crockett called herself taking on Kash Patel, and she castigated him as the worst FBI director because he was the only, her words, was the only one who'd never been an FBI agent. Now, this is a woman who has access to the Library of Congress, and she has a staff to help her research things before she says them. J. Edgar Hoover was never an FBI agent, or was Christopher Wray, or James Comey, or Robert Mueller, a host of others. Okay, so this is the kind of, and I'm not going to say she just did that for theatrical purposes. I'm going to say she did it because she's not an intelligent individual. Okay, she doesn't respect the position she has. She will never be a statesman like Barbara Jordan or what's the woman that ran for president?
Shirley Chisholm.
Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a far cry from that. And the last thing I'll say, guys, go back and watch the Wellstone Memorial. Okay, they want to talk about memorials, right? Paul Wellstone was a senator from Minnesota. Unfortunately, in 2002, he died in a plane crash. I believe his wife and young child also died in that plane crash. They had a memorial for him a few days later, and it devolved into a partisan circus. Okay, they have no room to talk about it. Did you see what happened at Charlie Kirk Memorial? Okay, go watch and watch the Wellstone Memorial. It's out there on YouTube, and it will invalidate everything they're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Tyrone. I mean, the Democrats that you named, Jasmine Crockett, Ilhan Omar, all of them, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, they're more like Siths, from Star Wars. They remind me, Ilhan Omar reminds me of Palpatine. They remind me of Darth Sith that just go around. They look demonic. They lie. They sliver around. I'm just waiting for them to unzip their face and a snake pop out. It's just, they're sick. They're demonic. They're nasty. They're hateful. They're dishonest and deceitful. Shelley, what did you think of what she said there? And Dana Bash did not even push back. She said, no. Oh, we're finished. Okay, thank you for your time, Congressman.
Yeah. I noticed that when Dana first started asking her the question, her eyes got kind of big, like as if to say, like, how dare you ask me something like that? Like she kind of knew where the question was going. But I believe that this was on purpose. Dana Bash specifically wanted Jasmine Crockett or, someone like all the people we just named. But this was on purpose. And again, it was intentionally done on the day of the memorial service. But there's a huge contrast between what she says and all those people at that memorial service, from inside the stadium and then the overflow room. All those people are not being taken in hostage, if you will, by Charlie Kirk's rhetoric. No, they're not. They know something different. They know that he stood for truth and civil discussion. But you, as a sitting congresswoman, you would not even sign a resolution that just condemned the violence, the utter assassination of this man. This is how partisan they are. They're partisan. Again, it's a religion to them. And I keep saying, people don't give up their religion. I don't care what kind of religion it is. They don't give up their religion easily. So so they are true to their religion.
Yeah. Yeah, Nicole, what are your thoughts on that exchange between Dana Bash and Jasmine Crockett?
So definitely scripted. She knew the question was coming because she, as Tyrone pointed out, is not very good off the cuff, right? History is not her thing. I mean, even with talking points, she fumbles quite often. But here are some things that you should notice. Number one, what happened to the neck swinging, the finger popping, hand slapping Jasmine Crockett? The one that couldn't finish a word, that's running her words together. What happened to that Jasmine Crockett, right? What happened to the slick mouth Jasmine Crockett? All of that was gone because this was supposed to be their pushback moment. This was supposed to be clipped out and be the counterpoint to what they believed was going to be, quote unquote, a flop of a memorial. God had other plans. I say this as a believer, but I think it's Exodus 20, verse 3, where God says, you shall have no gods before me. Honey, they better get right. They had better get right. These midterms, let me tell you how gung-ho we are for these midterms. Usually people don't get excited about midterms, unless you're like deeply political and you got some candidates in the fight. But we're going to have an entire convention for the midterms. That's how fired up this base is. There are so many new Republicans, so many people who have walked away from the Democrat Party who may still be standing in the middle as independents. And what we want to do is we want to reach out to them. We want to reach out to them and tell them, look here, we're not perfect. But here's what we stand on. Come on over here, and we're going to do some things to make this culture fit for most of America. Now, everybody ain't going to be able to make the trip, and that's okay, right? There are going to be some true believers, some true diehards who really feel like men can be women, you know, men can have babies and they should be able to participate in ladies' sports. There are some people who really, really believe that in their hearts of hearts. But America is a big enough country for everybody, but we do have to take back the moral majority. Come join us. And this is what this entire convention is going to be about. We're pushing hard for the midterms. We don't want to pick up 1 or 2 seats. We want to pick 8, 10 seats. So we're coming out. People are already fired up, but we're coming out incredibly motivated and cannot wait to get to work with all of these new people.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I am truly excited. Folks, if you are too, hit that like button as you come in. If you are a God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving patriot, hit that like button and subscribe. You are home. You are here. This is your home. This is your community. We're the same, and we want to see this country thrive. We want to see middle America and hardworking, God-fearing Americans thrive. So please come on in, hit the like button and subscribe. And if you are unapologetically American, we've got merch for you. Our shirt here, we have from our merch store. You can go right on the front page of our YouTube store. And we have some really cool shirts. If you want to share what you're feeling in this time right now. Unapologetically American. This is what we are right here on Poppin' Politics. We're not staying silent any longer, folks. We want people to know it's nothing wrong with being American. It's nothing wrong with loving our flag, loving capitalism, and we're not afraid to say it. So get your t-shirts right there. They come in all different colors, some for men, some for women. So we have the fit and the shape for men and for women. So definitely go right there on our YouTube page, the home page, and hit shop. All right. So let's see here. I want to get into Charlie Kirk's memorial. So we all, at least I know I did. Before we do, let me hit our super chatters here. Thank you all so much. All right. So we have Steel Toad with the $50 super chat.
Ooh,
wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Says, for years we have talked, we have tried to reason with them. We have given them much more leeway than they deserve. We have tried to coexist with them. It is quite obvious that they have no intention of coexisting with us. I'm over it. Me too. And we're about to get into it right now on this. Me too. All right. Who else we got here? Shrinkarella just joined our membership club for freedom seekers here. So thank you so much. That is also a great way to support the channel, and we appreciate you. Thank you. Jasper Vetti with the $20 super chat says, talking about shutting down comedy. Last I checked, wasn't it leftists who essentially shut down comedy? Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And he got it back. You guys saw today, Jimmy Kimmel, they said it was just a suspension. So the FCC had nothing to do with it. Trump had nothing to do with it. And so they are going to bring him back to the show. So whatever. But let's get into this weekend. All right. So, oh my gosh, from the ashes of loss rose inspiration. That's what Marco Rubio delivered at Charlie Kirk's memorial, a speech that lit a fire under every patriot in the room. I was shocked he had so much scripture in him. Take a look at this, folks. This was fire. One of my favorite moments of the night. This is clip 4.
One of the things he wants us to take away from all of this, is the following. His deep belief that we were all created, every single one of us, before the beginning of time, by the hands of the God of the universe, an all-powerful God, who loved us and created us for the purpose of living with him in eternity. But then sin entered the world and separated us from our Creator. And so God took on the form of a man and came down and lived among us. And he suffered like men. And he died like a man. But on the third day, he rose unlike any mortal man. And to prove any doubters wrong, he ate with his disciples so they could see, and they touched his wounds. He didn't rise as a ghost or as a spirit, but as flesh. And then he rose to the heaven, but he promised he would return, and he will. And when he returns, because he took on that death, because he carried that cross, we were freed from the sin that separated us from him. And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again with Charlie and all the people we love. Thank you, and God bless you.
Oh, that was such a wonderful memorial service. I cried again with all. I didn't think I had any tears left. It was such a powerful day. I mean, from the very beginning to the very end, it was such a tremendous ceremony. Shelley, can you? I want to get your response to his speech, and then we're going to get into the backlash that we're seeing today.
The whole service, the whole memorial was absolutely beautiful. Again, like you said, KJ, from the worship service, I was in here crying, singing, praising, laughing. Everyone who spoke, from the first speaker, Pastor Rob McCoy, who else I write down here? Of course, President Trump, Stephen Miller, Rubio, Gabbard,
Turek.
Dr. Carson, all of these people spoke. And guess what? Every one of them was needed. They came with different personalities, different deliveries, but everyone that spoke was necessary. All the differences, whatever, and it was good that we laughed at the memorial. We laughed, we cried, we prayed, we sung. Everybody, and it showed to me, it showed the beauty, the breadth, if you will, the depth of all of God's creation. He used all of us in whatever sphere, whatever message. It was beautiful to see the administration there, J.D. Vance and other, I guess high profile individuals, whatever they call themselves, whatever they're called. But it was so uplifting. And this is what the left is afraid of. Okay. They can call it whatever you want to call it. We want to call it Christian nationalism, fine. If they want to call it whatever, but they are afraid that they no longer have the grip, if you will, on many people, certainly not young people. They don't have that pull anymore. And this is what they are afraid about. They are afraid. And not only that, not only are they afraid, they're confused, because many of them, I heard some of the pundits talking about, well, this is supposed to be a memorial service. Well, no, we don't mourn as if we have no hope. Yes, our hearts are hurting. Yes, many of us are crying, some more than others, certainly Erica and her family. But we don't mourn as if there is no hope. We don't mourn as if there's no reason to get up tomorrow and start minute by minute, moment by moment, putting our one foot in front of the other. We don't throw ourselves on the funeral pyre like they used to do. Thank God for the UK put a stop to that over in India, right? Talking about Western civilization. They are afraid. They are literally in confusion and afraid. And guess what? You should be.
Yeah, you are exactly right, Shelley. And you brought up a very good point, because this is what hope looks like. It's through our God. It's through our son, God's son, Jesus Christ. This is what hope is. This is victory. Through it overall, over anything, through it all. This is what it looks like. And people who are not Holy Spirit filled don't recognize it, don't understand it. And I'll even go so far to say the ones that are demonic don't want anything to do with it. And so this is why they poo-poo on it. And they did that all day today. Before I get you all in on this, I want to talk about this next clip. This was the response of mainstream media and the left. Take a look, clip 7.
What you are seeing here is a movement called Christian nationalism that merges Christianity as it's been practiced in America for, centuries, with a very specific interpretation of what the founding fathers wanted, what Aristotle wanted, going all the way back to the ancients. You saw Larry Arnn, who is the president of Hillsdale College and a proponent of this strain of interpretation of the Bible, merge Christianity and protecting the Western civilization values into one and the same thing. It's a very somewhat convoluted argument, but if you distill it into the right talking points, it really hits you in the patriotic heart area, as it were.
Nicole, what do you heard what she said? You see how her nose got crumpled up. It was like the demon was poking out a little bit, and then she got, let's put it back in. Nicole, what's your response to that?
So I'm glad her demon got back in, because I would have hated to see it pop out on national TV. That would have probably been too much for my soul. But she's right. She's right. There is a mix of politics, if you will, in Christianity here in the United States. The nation is based on it. Somebody slapped this girl with the Constitution. It does not talk about freaks and tweaks in the Constitution. It talks about the Federalist Papers tells you we wouldn't need government if men were angels, but since men are not angels, we had better have a government. She has no grip on American history. I don't know where this girl's parents are from. I don't know where she was educated. She sounds like she's from California. That explains a lot. But she needs to get educated before she goes on national TV and is surprised that America is a Judeo-Christian country. I mean, I think that surprise was probably that lip twitch Elvis thing that she had going on. It probably caught up with her. Crap. That's right. That's who we really are. It is who we are. And we're going to stand on it. This Christian nationalism, they say it as if it's a bad thing. They say it as if having a nation that believes in something greater than itself is an issue. It is not. It is not. Now, there is a very fine line where sometimes, and if you know your Christian history, you know sometimes we get a little riled up and start trying to stomp out other folk. That's a whole different thing. But in this moment, what we saw yesterday wasn't so much as a memorial service, but it was a revival. It breathed life into this country that was on life support. Just remember where we were a year ago. Where we were a year ago. There were cross-dressers leading our military, right? There were people signing up to the military just so they could get, gender affirming care. We were in a completely upside down, bizarre world, and we didn't know how to get out of it. But can I tell you, but God, look at us now. Look at us now. And it is not just the people who went to Arizona to see this. You see people talking about it at work. Jesus Christ's name has been brought up more in this last week in the United States, probably than it ever has been in at least 50, 60 years. In at least 50 or 60 years. We are in a very interesting turning point. We are at a very interesting crossroads in this nation. And the liberal left has nothing that can stop it. They don't have anything that can stop it. We've already proved them kill us, and it just gets worse. It gets worse for you. So this is a beautiful, beautiful thing, this Christian nationalism. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Tyrone, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, when you see the turnout that the Charlie Kirk Memorial had, if you recognize that these people are coming together under the auspices of Christianity, if you worship government, then that's a problem. Okay. And I think that it goes without saying that a lot of those on the left have government as their God. It provides for them, so they think. They even make sacrifices to it. Okay. So in terms of their future, and even unborn babies. All right. So that's something that they blanch at the free expression of Christianity. And think about it. The left is kind of screwed up anyway when it comes to religion, because you'll have members of the LGBTQ community, for example, going out and talking about Islamic planks and issues and advocating for those. And it's like, and Muslims, to their credit, will tell them and have told them point blank, what you're doing is not compatible with Islam, but yet the left persists. So it's some weird kind of, faith that they put into government that fuels them, and they can have no other God before their government.
Yeah, I want to get you in on this, Shelly. But before I do, want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you. All right, let's see here. We have Lily with the $5 super chat says, I see a father, not a president. When DJT called Erica on stage with him, the way he hugged Erica, tapping in her back says it all. I was tearing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too, indeed. Lily. Me too.
All right. Chase Greyfeather with the $10 super chat says, I'm home, made coffee, and not eating till this show is over. Ran from front door to kitchen to here. Didn't want to miss y'all. Oh, wow.
I'm glad you made it, Chase. Glad you made it.
Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Jay Keller with a $10 super chat. Says, hi, my beautiful ladies and gentlemen. Shelly, thank you for that powerful truth. We don't mourn as if we have no hope. You be dropping clean bombs too. I'm at work catching a dose of pop and politics.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Yes, thank you. Kung Fu CJ says, the founders made faith in God mandatory. You had to believe in order to hold office. 29 of the founders had Bible or seminary degrees. There was never a separation of church and state. All right, there it is. Well, it's not over, folks. Take a look at this next clip. Don Lemon went off. This is clip 8.
It was a revival meeting wrapped in a memorial, a political rally dressed as church. And by the end of the night, it was clear this was not only about Charlie Kirk's death. It was about his afterlife in politics. Donald Trump stood on the stage like a man at the center of a prophecy. He called Charlie Kirk a martyr. Other politicians promised to carry out his mission. The crowd cheered as if the passing of the man had lit some sort of sacred fire. To me, this was not mourning. This was a mobilization. And here is where we have to tell the truth here. What we saw in that arena was not simply faith-finding public expression. It was religious nationalism on full display. That is the truth. That is my truth. This is my freedom of expression. This is my First Amendment right to be able to tell you the truth from my point of view. Not just from my point of view. This is what it is. The language was unmistakable. Take the nation back for God. Restore America's covenant. This is a holy calling. That's what it sounded like. This is not the language of democracy. This is the language of domination.
Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
I got a question for Dawn first. Is the dick that you suck, is it sour? Is that a sour dick that you suck? Because you surely are like the lemon that in your name. I mean, you just are. Is that dick sour? That's what I want to know. I mean, I would advise you not to suck it anymore. Nevertheless, I'm sorry, Tyrone.
Choke me to death, Shelly.
Oh look, first of all, again, our founding fathers, our First Amendment right, it says government cannot control. You can't control what people believe. All those people in that auditorium, I'm sure most of them, if not all of them, were Christians. Some of them reaffirmed, rededicated. Some of them accepted, Christ for the first time. Okay, fine. Now they have a purpose, or they're finding out what their purpose is. Some of their purpose is going to show up in politics. Some of it might show up in the workplace, in other places, in media, wherever else it may be. But you better believe they have a purpose. And I bet you, it's not to kiss up to the likes of Don Lemon. No, certainly not anymore. They're not taking your stuff. They're not taking the Dana Bashes and the Jasmine Crockett stuff of the world. No, they're not. Some of them, again, all different types of personalities. Some of them may be a little bit more calmer, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but calmer than others. Like President Trump. I needed to hear President Trump. I needed to hear Stephen Miller yesterday. I loved hearing all of them. But again, everybody brought something different, and it served the need of that celebration of Charlie Kirk's life. But the rest of us are still here living, and we have a purpose, and we're going to live it out, Dawn. We're going to live it out. So again, I would advise you to stop sucking sour dicks and learn how we operate, because we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to take it there, but yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And folks, I want to talk to conservatives tonight. What I'm about to say, please do not let the left and the mainstream media make you back away from Christian nationalism. Okay. Yes, this is what it is. Yes, this is what we're about. And we are, as Charlie Kirk mentioned, salt and light, folks. And we are going to own Christian nationalism. I did a whole series. We did a whole series on this. Actually, before this, God has a way of doing things. We started a 3-part series on KJ Christian Conservative. We started this last Thursday, I think it was. 3-part series on Christian nationalism, what it is and what it is not. Please check it out if you haven't done so already. This was before the memorial, and now this is all they're talking about: Christian nationalism, Christian nationalism. Folks, Christian nationalism, I'm going to say what it's not. It's not white supremacy. It's not forced religion or a theocracy. It is a recognition that Christ is Lord over every sphere of our lives: family, church, and government. And it's a call. It's a call for Christians to be engaged in preserving a nation that honors God. It's nothing wrong with that, folks. We need to own this. This is what we need, because guess what? The left has a religion too. It's called secularism. This is their religion. Remember when they were wearing the COVID necklaces and all that crap? They have a religion. And what we've done is there's a void now that has been left since we have pushed away from this Christian nationalism. There's a void. And when we retreat, as we have done over these last several years, what do we get? We get abortion laws. We get sexual confusion in our schools. We get the breakdown of the family. We need to embrace Christian nationalism. So yes, Dawn, this is what it was. It was a revival. You should be scared, because we're coming back for our schools. We're coming back for our workplaces. And you might catch us shouting Holy Ghost in the schools now. I have no issue with it. None whatsoever. It's American. So that's what I have to say on that. Tyrone, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, it's important that Americans understand what has gone on with respect to the West whenever they've decided to reject faith. Okay. If you look at France, for example, back during their revolution, they rejected being a nation of faith. Look at the position they're in now, right? They actually have, because they got rid of the Christian bulwark, they actually are about to have a state religion again. Okay. And it ain't Christianity. It ain't Judaism. Okay. But it is one more. It's the last Abrahamic religion. It's Islam. Look at what happened with Henry VIII when he wanted to get his annulment, and the Pope wouldn't give it to him. So they
created a new religion. Yeah.
And we're going to create our own thing. Now, the head of the Church of England, King Charles, everybody's saying King Charles is a Muslim now. Okay. So, and look at the states of the UK. The UK, when Starmer came over here, and I'm so glad Trump embarrassed him. Because Starmer was making all of this noise about how they'd go it alone and fight Russia. And Trump was like, come on, man. Really? I mean, Russia probably take y'all out in an afternoon. Okay. And that's the reality of it. So when you look at the decline of the West, you cannot examine it without also looking at how these countries, traditional Christian countries, have rejected their indigenous faith. And here we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't let it, so we're gonna recognize ours, Don. Okay, and look, real quick, Don is a closeted conservative. Listen to some of the stuff Don used to say back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Back in the day, he was a blue dog. Yeah, back in the day, he was a blue dog. But
he's changed. I think he's changed now. I don't know, but I want to get these super chats. Yeah. I want to get these super chats because the chat is going wild. Thank you all so much. Is my connection okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Who do we have here? Thank you guys so much. Please, as you all come in, hit the like button. That really helps the channel get in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. Steel Told with the $5 super chat says, no life is complete without God, love, and dogs. All right, Steel Told. Thank you. Lucille with the $10 super chat says, did you all see Candace today? She was saying she couldn't forgive people like Erica did. She's crazy. Well, I mean, that's her right. I mean, everyone, it's good to forgive because forgiveness actually helps the person that is doing the forgiving. But I mean, I understand everyone can't do what Erica Kirk did. And so they're talking about Erica Kirk during the memorial said that she forgave the assassin. But, Candace Owens, we already know she is like a dot of the woman that Erica Kirk
let me defend Candace today based on Erica. I forgot her name. I'm sorry, who just spoke that. Candace was saying basically, like many people, even Megyn Kelly, and I forget who else said, Michael knows today. Basically, he was saying, the Erica's forgiveness, most people are not going to be able to do that, and certainly not in 11 days. They actually was saying it as a compliment, if you will, or they were honoring Erica. It was not something to demean or put her down. It was in no way said like that. Even Candace did not say it like that. She basically said it in a sense of admiration and just acknowledging that she probably wouldn't be able to do that, but amen, that Erica was. That's basically what she was saying or how she was saying it.
Yeah. Well, did she talk about how she shouldn't have ran her mouth about Charlie Kirk's pastor? The first person to speak at the memorial was Charlie Kirk's pastor. And as we talked about this on the previous show, Candace said, who is this guy, Rob McCoy? She never even said Pastor McCoy. Who is this guy, Rob McCoy? She pretty much badmouthed him. Well, Rob McCoy is a pastor and longtime friend of the Kirk family, and he was the first one to speak at the memorial, and he gave a wonderful, spirit-filled speech. And so, she owes that man an apology, as she owes many people an apology, but she won't because she has a very nasty. She hates Protestants. She doesn't like Protestants. She's actually talked about her disdain for the Protestant evangelical Protestant religion. She doesn't believe it. She doesn't believe that we should, that it's a real religion. It's a real I don't know whatever your biblical reading of the Bible, and she said that. So, whatever. I don't even care what she thinks about anybody, honestly. Shrinkarella with the $5 super chat says the left wanted to crush conservatives, Christian and patriotic spirit. They are mad that that didn't happen. Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Absolutely. Amen. Yes, amen. Indeed. All right, Josh. Wow, Josh. $100 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, I knew Dana Bash when I interned for Ted Kennedy on Capitol Hill in 97. And she later got married to her second husband, John King, at my family's hotel on Cape Cod. I spoke to her. She was smart, especially on foreign policy. Today, hosting jazz gotta be depressing. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, anytime you want to host us in Cape Cod, we'll come up there. I love Cape Cod. Yes, indeed. Cape Cod, Newport, New England, all of it. All right. Kung Fu CJ says, Tyrone, they are on fire. Say something. Yep. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. Yeah, folks. Jasper Vetti with the $20 super chat says, hey, Shelly, please watch out. Dickhead Don Lemons might be looking to get you.
He don't want me. He got another guy, a whole other guy right there. He don't want me. And I don't want him.
Oh gosh, Shelly, you are crazy. You are crazy. All right, folks. Yes, indeed. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you all. Every super chat. Josh, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Every last one of you guys. It really helps to keep us online. And we got a revival here, folks. We got a revival. And we got to keep it going. We got to continue to speak out on these topics. Do not retreat from the idea of Christian nationalism. And because guess what? Secularism is not neutral. And it's a revival religion of man-centered truth, folks. And we got to combat it. We must. All right. So let's keep going on this. Next here is Trump on H-1B1s. Take a look. This is clip 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most abused visa systems in our current immigration system has been the H-1B non-immigrant visa program. This is supposed to allow highly skilled laborers who work in fields that Americans don't work in to come into the United States of America. What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H-1B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that the people they're bringing in are actually very highly skilled and that they're not replaceable by American workers. So it'll protect American workers, but ensure that companies have a pathway to hire truly extraordinary people and bring them to the United States to work.
We need workers. We need workers. We need great workers. And this pretty much ensures that that's what's going to happen. I think, Sean, you agree with that?
Well, they're $100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. They love it. They really love it. They need it.
All right, there you have it. So President Trump just took another bold step for American workers, signaling a proclamation that puts Americans first when it comes to jobs. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
I love it. I love how the president is using immigration to shape our new America's golden era. There should be a significant amount of money that these companies need to pay the federal government to bring in these allegedly highly skilled workers from foreign countries who ultimately turn out to be about as skilled as the people that we have here in the United States. They just get to pay them less, right? So this will allow the government to redirect some of that money into training some of our own students to fit into the workforce. This is a really good look. So we're quite literally taking money from the companies who say, no, we prefer to hire foreign people, and using that money to train up our own people while still charging them every year $100,000. JP Morgan Chase started calling people back almost immediately, even before Trump penned the paper. So you're going to see a push to get these college students, instead of running into government service, because that's what generally happens when they can't find a job, private sector, they all work for the Fed. Well, the Fed's not going to hire them anymore. They're going to have to find private jobs. This means that these companies can hire them. And if they don't, they'll pay the penalty. They'll pay the penalty $100,000 a year for not hiring American workers. So I think this is a good look. He's doing several things across many fronts to kind of make it easier for Americans to get good jobs. That's important to building a better culture.
Yeah. Tyrone, what are your thoughts on this this H-1B1 non-immigrant workers what do you call it? Executive order?
Yeah. Wages need to rise. And this will help that happen. Because one of the things that these corporations have been doing is they've been bringing in labor on this visa, and they've been able to undercut the prevailing wage here in America. This came out about a month ago. This young lady named Manasi Mishra, she was featured in the New York Post, Wall Street Journal. She had just graduated. She's an American citizen. She had just graduated with a degree in computer science. And, a real solid degree. Where'd she graduate? She graduated from Purdue. And this young lady with a viable degree from a great school had to go work at Chipotle because she was unable to find a job in her field. They are hiring for that field, but it just so happened that the wage that she would have demanded as an American citizen, the jobs that she applied for in her field probably went to folk from overseas. So that needs to stop. So this is good. This will discourage corporations from skipping over people like this young lady who are American citizens. The other thing I'd like to see the administration do on that front, they really need to start investigating these colleges, because there's no way in hell that you should be allowed to take out a loan for any degree path that does not correspond to economic viability. All right. So you want to take Afro-American studies or women's studies? Hey, look, get on ChatGPT to your heart's content, but there should be no opportunity for you to take a loan out from the United States taxpayers that you're not going to be able to pay back because nobody's hiring for underwater basket weaving. So that's the other piece of this puzzle. These colleges need to get rid of these trash degrees and force people into, because a lot of these kids want to go to college just to say they went to college. They get pressure from the family and whatnot. And then they come out with a degree that's not economically viable. So these two things need to coincide. I'm glad this young lady looks like she might have an opportunity now to get into a company and ply her trade, because we're making it more expensive to do the wrong thing.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this executive order? Should foreign workers be prioritized over Americans in our job market?
No, they should not, especially when they are qualified Americans. And I wanted to add to Tyrone's, even if whatever the degree field, I also want colleges to put their money on the line as well, because many colleges, certainly these Ivy Leagues, have endowments that could fund several small countries themselves. Okay, so I want them to put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, and fund and support a lot of these college students who are going to college and maybe not coming out with a good degree, or even if there's not a good degree, I want them to put their money on the line. Stop going to the taxpayer first. Families, students themselves, maybe they can work, families, and then the colleges as well. Taking out government money, taxpayer money, should be a last resort in only certain circumstances. Look, I know many people have already done it. I did it. I had school loans. Thankfully, I paid them both back. But millions of Americans are literally in debt, primarily maybe medical reasons, bankruptcy, and school loans. Very high. They kind of high on the list for why people can go into debt, except for catastrophic events. But I want the colleges to put their money on the line as well. I want them to have some some
skin in the game.
Skin in the game. Thank you.
Well, let me ask you, because Shelley, a lot of these colleges they're getting these government funding, the government grants and things due to research. So many of these colleges are huge research, so-called research colleges. Now, I'm not saying they don't do the research. The question is the research that they're doing really worthwhile or worth the money? But that's a whole nother conversation. But a lot of the money that they're going to these colleges, they're saying is going to research for cancer, for HIV, and all these other types of.
Those are specific. Those are typically specific colleges, universities, research centers, very specific, usually in the medical scientific realm. So that's fine. There can be a partnership, but you said it yourself in your statement, KJ. You can't tell if the research is valid or if it's useful. Much of that research we don't know. Our money is just it's gone in one hand and out one other door. So we don't know. Some of it we do. We might find out, I don't know, however long later, but that's the thing. We need to put more stricter provisions, if you will, and parameters around even the research. Thankfully, it looks like, at least in this one area we talked about today, President Trump and the HHS team, they're talking about that. Jay Bhattacharya talked about the NIH research for very specific reasons, in this case related to autism. So yes, we do. We need to be a little bit more stringent, a little bit more particular and circumspect about where our money, because it's not the government's, it's our money, where it goes. And we need the transparency on the other side to see what the outcomes are and how the money was used.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the medical field, breaking news tonight, President Trump has revealed a disturbing link between Tylenol and autism, especially when taken during pregnancy. And the FDA is issuing new warnings. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 5.
The Amish, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that, acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you.
All right, lots to unpack there. Before we do, let's get into our super chatters. I have some super chatters I want to acknowledge. Thank you all so much. Please, folks, as you come in, hit that like button. We have almost 600 people watching. Want to make sure we have even that amount of likes on this broadcast. All right, let's see here. We have Lightbearer 32 with a $5 super chat, says $100,000 per year for these Fortune 500 companies is like spending $10. All right.
Let me take that.
That's per person.
Yeah, that's per person.
And that's only the government fee. That's only the government fee. That's not the other fees that are associated. Right.
That's per person per year. And it's an increase over and above the $2,000 to $5,000 per year that they pay now. So Lightbearer, think about it like this. If the starting salary for someone coming out of school with that computer science degree is between 70 and 100 grand, why would a corporation then spend an additional 100 grand? And we're just talking salary, not benefits. Okay. So that you're spending $200,000 on an employee that the top salary is 100 before benefits. So see, that doesn't, the math ain't mathing.
Yeah, it prices them out of the market. And that's the beautiful thing.
All right. There you have it. Thank you so much, Lightbearer 32. All right. What else do we have here? All right. Mellow DC with the $5 super chat says, love y'all, brilliant souls. Secularism is nihilism. Right?
Thank you, Mellow.
I agree. Thank you so much, Mellow DC. Thank you. All right. Liberty with the $20 super chat says, the admin has to do something about our
outsourcing
jobs overseas too, like medical billing, insurance companies, customer service. Companies have put many Americans out of jobs doing this. Yeah.
That's very true.
I went to urgent care last week just for some seasonal stuff. And the medication they gave me, the prescription was from China. It was made in China.
Yeah, most medications are.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah, but you're paying American prices. That's the difference, right?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I'm thinking like one of our adversaries, we're having prescription medication made in China.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Most
we haven't learned a lesson.
A lot of them are,
We haven't learned.
Penicillin comes from China.
Mm-hmm.
Say again.
Most penicillin comes from China.
Yeah, that's crazy. So just thought that was, something. Yeah, but let's keep it going here. So all right, so let's get into this major news today. So again, President Trump announced that Tylenol use during pregnancy is associated with a very increased risk of autism. Now, on its face, it's a huge story just by itself. But President Trump went even further today, extending his remarks to the entire childhood vaccine schedule. He almost sounded like RFK, Jay. He's delivering every word that he said with force. So he went out on a limb for all the mothers who swear their children's health declined after taking vaccines. I mean, his words today change everything. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. I'll start off with you, Tyrone. What do you think of his news?
Well, I'm definitely for us rethinking these old paradigms and, old regimes that have been seen as status quo because big corporations say so. Okay. I think that if you look at especially a lot of the ailments that we suffer from here in this country, and then you look at other countries that do not have that, I think that there's some, clear evidence that we need to at least investigate a lot of this stuff. So they found a link, because I don't know about you guys. And look, I'm no scientist. I don't have any data, but I don't peanut allergies and autism. This was not around when I was coming up, right? So what happened? What happened to make this stuff like so prevalent? Sure, you might have had someone who had this, but it was not as prevalent. And like the peanut allergy, it's like, I heard like kids can't even take peanuts to school because these allergies are so bad that it may affect some kid way down the hall. Okay, that's some serious stuff, right? And hey, I came up in the hood, so all we was eating was peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Nobody had an allergy to this, okay? So yeah, we definitely need to start looking at a lot of this stuff because it just seems like it just exploded out of nowhere.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with you. And as you mentioned, when we were coming up, the only thing that was people had an allergy with was bee stings. That was the big thing. Bee stings, and I'm allergic to bee stings. What are your thoughts here, Shelley?
So I listened to the press conference today, and I loved hearing President Trump try to pronounce acetaminophen. Okay, so that was funny. So first of all, I want to say that I'm going to be as clear as I can be. Number one, Tylenol is a brand name. The chemical is acetaminophen. So if you're looking for anything, it could be generic. It'll say acetaminophen or something like that. That's number one. Number two, the research that the team was talking about was showing some correlations, not necessarily causation, but some possible correlations or some increased risk in some of the research that has been collected over however long. They also did acknowledge that some research does not show that. However, like President Trump said, doing nothing causes no harm. Okay, so that's why he was saying, don't take it, don't take it, don't take it. Unless you talk with your doctor, some specific situations. I do want to also say Tylenol, acetaminophen has done some good. I'm not talking about necessarily for pregnant women or, for infants. I'm talking about in general. It has done good. It has been fevers also are a huge risk if you are pregnant. Fever, having a fever can be very severe. I mean, I'll say it like that. Can have some severe adverse reactions and outcomes for mom and baby if you are pregnant and the fever does not go down on its own for whatever reason. So keep all of that in mind. Like President Trump he did say this, and I think the other people said you definitely should talk to your obstetrician, your provider, if you are in that particular circumstance. Okay, they did not say, and I'm not even advising you to. I'm just saying what they did not say. They did not say don't ever take Tylenol for anybody. Okay, they did not say that. All right, I'm just, and again, I'm not advising you. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not your doctor. They did not say that. But I will repeat, if you have those concerns, if you have medical issues and Tylenol or acetaminophen is what is working for you, if you have concerns, you need to talk to your provider. That's as careful or as clear as I'm going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's talk about the study before I get you in on this, Nicole. Acetaminophen, commonly sold, as you mentioned, under the brand name Tylenol, has been considered, as you mentioned, one of the safest painkillers for pregnant women to manage fever, headache, and other pain. It's also called paracetamol in other countries, including the UK. Right. But in the study published earlier this month, researchers led by Andrea Baccarelli of Harvard University found that when children are exposed to the drug during pregnancy, they may be more likely to develop neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism and ADHD, a university president release said on August 20th. So analyzing the results of 46 studies on the painkiller that represents data from 100,000 participants, the researchers looked at a possible connection between pregnant women taking acetaminophen and neurodevelopment disorders such as autism and ADHD, also known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So as you mentioned, they found some link. Now, what a lot of people are saying is it's not the Tylenol, it's the vaccines. So they're saying that many times when people get these vaccines, they do cause fevers sometimes, some types of pain. They're taking the Tylenol. And so the link that's connecting the Tylenol to these autism is really, they're saying it's the vaccine. So skeptics on this, people that, have been in the Maha unit movement for a very long time are saying this is not it. Tylenol is not it. It's the vaccines. Why are we kind of sidestepping that? Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
So we're not sidestepping it. Most of medicine is a practice, right? So nothing is etched in stone in medicine. Not one thing is etched in stone. It is a practice. It is a practice that's incremental, meaning that you do a little of this, a little of that, and you might get this thing. There is nothing that says, don't take Tylenol, your baby's going to be autistic. Nothing says that. However, if studies have shown even a loose link, and you are a pregnant mother and you have a habit of taking Tylenol when you get a headache, you have a habit of taking Tylenol, you get a low backache, maybe change that habit. So here's what I know about the American public. We don't like to be uncomfortable at all for any reason. When children get vaccinations, which that vaccine schedule definitely needs to change. When children get vaccinations, the first thing parents want to do is pull out that Tylenol dropper, a couple drops under the tongue, soothe the baby. It works just as well. An ice pack and a hug works just as great because children are incredibly resilient. Those shots typically hurt the parents more than they do the child. It's frightening. Make no mistake. Suddenly you've got stuck and you're like, ouch. And then all the adults in your life make a big deal about it. It's a different affect when parents are kind of a little bit more pragmatic about what they put inside of their babies' bodies, right? Tylenol is a wonderful drug. Acetaminophen is a wonderful, wonderful painkiller. Aspirin used to be a wonderful, wonderful painkiller, and we studied it and we saw some correlations that, like Rye's syndrome, that gave us pause. Again, medicine is a practice. People evolve every generation. Things are going to change. And we have to flex with those changes. Tyrone is right. When we look at that vaccine schedule, they haven't really removed anything. They just added other things on. Last year, we started giving the polio vaccine again. Polio. Right? When was the last time you saw some little kid you eking down the street with jacked up legs and 2 crutches because he has polio? Well, we had to do that because of the illegal immigration. But polio vaccines, because things change. So don't get stuck in saying, well, no Tylenol ever for the rest of my life. Let's not be that way. Let's just be a little bit more open-minded and only take it when you need it. I say the same thing all the time about Benadryl. People, I'm a pop a Benadryl, go to sleep. I'm a pop a Benadryl because I got an itchy eye. How about if you just go to sleep? Close your eyes and wait for the sleep Sandman to come and carry you on. Stop polluting your body with things you just don't need. Because when you really need it, if you've built up a tolerance, that means that we're going to have to figure out what that tolerance level is while you're suffering. So give us and your body a break so we can take better care of you, American public. Not every little itch and owie deserves, a medication.
Absolutely. Right. Or you could just carry around some Smirnoff and, that'll work just as well.
Well, not just that, but this is a grift, folks. The United States has we are probably under some type of experiment, and the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry has abused it. It's abusive. It's abusive. And you just what you mentioned, Nicole, makes perfect sense. When you go to other countries, what they call third world countries, they don't use all these medicines and things for minor aches and pains and stuff, even like chronic pain. My mother-in-law came here. She's from the islands, and talking about high blood pressure. You know what she takes for high blood pressure? She makes tea from the corn silk, and it lowers her blood pressure back to normal. She doesn't have to take medication because she's drinking this tea. There are a plethora of natural remedies that help us. Also, sunshine. We're in here. Fresh air, sunshine helps to build immunity. But we have seen over the last several years, and again, this goes back to this leftist world kind of government that they're trying to push us into. They are trying. The money is in the sickness, and they don't want us healthy. They don't.
Yeah. It's called, a lot of times in the medical field, you'll hear people say it's not really health care, it's sick care. Something to that degree. But you're right, though. By and large, we don't like to be uncomfortable. You're right, Nicole. And Tyrone, to your point, as far as allergies and not just vaccinations, but the allergies in general, a lot of the mindset today is, again, I always say bubblize or bubblerize your kids, right? A lot of parents, they don't want their kids exposed to anything or what they think. They don't want their kids on the floor. They don't want them outside playing in the grass. And so they delay that exposure to things that would really naturally, if you will, trigger their immune system to give them that, that say, hey, this is what it is. And that acknowledgement for that immune system. foods the same way. Granted, I know babies don't come out the womb eating soft foods. I get that. But a lot of times when you withhold things from children, regular, average, healthy children, they can develop an intolerance to something when they're exposed to it. Thus, we have the allergies. Okay. And one more perfect example. People have asked me all the time, well, I see babies or young people with a lot of eczema, right? Like you said, Tyrone, when we were growing up, I didn't see that. We didn't see that. I mean, eczema. I mean, young kids with really eczema and dry skin. And they will ask, what do you do for your skin? Or what do you do for your daughter's skin? You know what I said?
Vaseline.
Old-fashioned Vaseline. Old-fashioned Vaseline. That's it. When you're a baby, you give your baby a bath. Don't dry them so roughly. Let their skin stay a little bit moist, and you slather them down in Vaseline all over their skin. We didn't have eczema growing up. Now, granted,
it's an autoimmune. We've had a uptick in autoimmune issues and things, and something's triggering it. Something is triggering it. I mean,
we had so much Vaseline, KJ. I'm sorry, we slipped and slide down the street. But
I'm not a big fan of Vaseline, but yes, but it's an internal issue. If eczema is not just dry skin, as you know, I know you know.
No, I know, but what I'm saying,
it's an internal issue.
It can get so severe, right? So when they're young, you can kind of, quote unquote, I'm going to use the word train. That's not necessarily what I want to say, but you can get their skin, which is your skin is your main protection for your body. That's it. Right. So if you don't protect that and keep that moisture and that balance, then anything else can go too. So
yeah. Folks, we will continue to keep you guys updated on all of these topics. We have some super chatters here. I want to thank you all so much for your support. It really means a lot to us, and it helps to keep us online. Steel Toad with the $5 super chat. It says,
thank you.
60 years old, never get any vaxes. I don't get sick. My body is busted up from work and play, but I don't get sick. Wow. All right, Steel Toad. Yes, indeed. Lightbearer 32 with the $5 super chat says all pharmaceuticals harm because the active components are isolated in a way God did not intend. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat says whiskey, lemon, and honey and Advil kills mucus ills. All right. Okay. All right. JT Thompson with the $5 super chat said, so here's something that might help, but will not happen. If I can't buy it over the counter, it cannot be publicly advertised.
Boy, that would help tremendously, because I can tell you, if I had $1 for the people who come into my office demanding what they saw on TV last night, and when I try to explain to them, you don't have that illness, so there's no reason for you to have it. It is like a fight. America markets so many things to so many people, but what I find absolutely objectionable is big pharma hitting you at dinner time, right? When they know that everybody's sitting down and they've got your undivided attention, NFL games, any kind of major sporting event, it makes me absolutely crazy because they have you convinced that you need this thing. Convinced that you need Ozempic to lose weight. Convinced you need Wegovy. I can't lose any weight. I need Wegovy. No, you don't diet and exercise, and that's why you can't lose any weight, right? We're going to see an uptick of pancreatic cancer in this nation that is going to be so astounding. And there are going to be people sitting there going, how did we get here? You know how we got here? These weight loss injectables are people sitting on their butts, not burning it. It's just eating a hole through your small intestine and poisoning your body. Folks, if I could just, and again, I'm not giving any medical advice, not doing that. What I'm saying is we have to stop big pharma from convincing us that we're sick. We have to stop that. We have to stop that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Nicole. You are absolutely right. Folks, we will be back on Wednesday night. Look at Scrapping Beauty with the $10 super chat. If you want to listen to your body, you can't if you are numb. Absolutely. Yes, we will be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Please check us out on Wednesday. In the meantime, you can check out the All American Talk Show. They're on tomorrow, That's Tuesday at 6:45 p.m. The All American Talk Show, bringing you the latest in news from a conservative perspective. So we will be, they are there. And then again, we will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. right here on Pop and Politics. There's Just the Guys on Saturdays at 6:30 at Just the Guys Podcast. So yes, please check us all out. These are the shows on the Metro Conservative Media Network. All right. And as I mentioned earlier, folks, I did a whole series on Christian nationalism on the
Christian conservative.
Yeah, Christian conservative. So yes, that's Christian conservative right here on YouTube. We did a 3-part series on Christian nationalism, the case for Christian nationalism, salt, light, and conservatism in action. So you do not want to miss it. You can check out the 3-part series right here at KJ Christian Conservative on there, where I give a biblical perspective on the news and pop culture. Me and Michelle. So we get fiery, we get fired up. You don't want to miss it on Christian Conservative. All right. And don't forget, of course, we have Tyrone. He has Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube. Definitely check him out right here on YouTube, Soldiers of Finance. What do you got going on for tomorrow, Tyrone?
Well, actually, we're going to be taking a look at Whoopi Goldberg. She made an admission about her finances, and we are delving into that to try to help other people avoid a similar situation.
All right. Absolutely. Excellent. All right, folks, that does it for us tonight. Again, we will see you on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Again, please share this in a DM, share this on your social media. We want to get the word out about the movement that we are creating, that we are continuing here. There's a revival here in America.
Yes, Lord.
We want to keep it. Yes, indeed. We are God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Let's take our country back, folks. We'll see you on Wednesday. Until next time, wishing you warm days and starry nights. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.